Okay, the continuation of this project, kind of like part 3. Here in my Athearn Blue boxes, I have a President's Choice Locomotive K5A, the Hudson. It has been upgraded with LED and a connector that goes between the locomotive and the tender. And it has, I believe, an NCE decoder in it, just to get it to work DCC. Since I took the Digitrax board out of the RS3, what I intend to do is dismantle the Soundbug SFX006 from the board, reset it, and install it into the tender, kind of with the same address as the NCE locomotive decoder, and sync it all up so it all sounds good and looks good. And I think I'm gonna install the board, the Digitrax board, in a different locomotive, something that'll receive the board properly. Alright, so I'm gonna take out the locomotive, which really doesn't need any work done to it. But I really like these locomotives, all of them except basically the first one of the series are really good. The detail's not the greatest, but it's good enough for what you pay for them. And most of the time I didn't pay full price for them. I bought them secondhand, and I ended up getting the complete set with this locomotive for $20. So here's the speaker that I'll be installing, and I'm going to make a baffle for it, and I'll show how I do that too. But for the most part, all of the work is going to be done in the tender. So I'm going to dismantle this and start working. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, here it is. I have the board with the Soundbug removed. Basically there's 2 screws. Those are the power leads, and then there's the 8-pin, micro 8-pin plug that plugs into the board, and that helps, I guess, with the signal from one decoder to the other to illustrate what sounds are done with what functions. Needless to say, with any luck, I don't think I'll need this board when I install it into the locomotive tender. It's a 165AO board, and I should be able to install it into something that'll receive it properly. Alright, onward. Okay, so before I go any further, I'm going to try to reset this Soundbug decoder. One thing with Digitrax, to try to be versatile, you can go ahead and buy this decoder or one like this, install it, and you can run your locomotive DCC, and then if you decide you want to add sound for a small fee, you go and buy a sound decoder that piggybacks on it. One thing about it is they're difficult to program when they're together. You're supposed to lock them and then be able to unlock one, change CVs, lock it, and then do the same with the other decoder. I haven't mastered that. I ended up locking these decoders, and I want to reset the sound and everything on the SFX006. So I've gone and I've changed my leads from my programming track booster pt1 from Soundtrax to my PR3. So Digitrax on Digitrax through JMRI, and we'll see if we can get this to find the loco. Well, look at that. I found all the decoders. SFX sound only decoder, SFX 006. Open the comprehensive. So what I normally do here is I read through all of the CVs and see what's up. So this is supposed to be locked. I'm going to check it and see if it'll read the CVs. I'm not going to hold off. I'm going to pause the video and be back when this is done. So here I have the shell removed on the tender. As you can see, I have an NCE decoder installed, all wired up, and I have a wiring harness adapter. This is the female end that plugs into, or that the Locomotive plugs into. It's quite nice. Nice little semicircle with all of the wire leads. I have the speaker prepped I just got to strip the wires and solder it to the Soundbug. Then I'm going to install the sound file for the Hudson. Digitrax has the sounds on their website. Since this is all Digitrax equipment, the PR3 Extra, going to this Soundbug, I'm able to actually change the sound files from the default sound files to supposedly prototypical sounds. Not a huge fan of the K5A. I may later switch it to a different sound, but I'm going to give it a shot and see what it's like. Alright, I'll be back. Here's a little side note while my soldering iron's getting warmed up. I found this off of YouTube there a while ago. So I buy speakers. I don't buy them necessarily from the hobby shop. I usually go on eBay and try to find equivalent specifications. Like here, this is an 8 ohm 1 watt speaker. You know, you can get these for, you know, $1, $2, $3, and they're not much different than the ones you'd get with, you know, the sound decoders, and they sound awesome. Standalone like they are, they don't sound great, but when you baffle them, they really sound awesome. So what I found on YouTube was, you know, if you had, this is a film container, it's a little large for the speaker, but if you had a pill bottle that is the same size as the speaker, then you could modify it. I happen to have old bottle that I got from the dollar store, and this used to have crazy glue in it. That's why it's kind of discolored. It had little tubes of crazy glue, and what I did, I set up a little jig and I cut this evenly, and I used the bottom as a baffle, and it works awesome. But then I realized it's such a waste, and I cut the bottle down as well. And here's another one. So these are different size baffles, and here's what's left. So I didn't waste any of the bottle. So what I'll do is I'll glue a bottom on this and mount the speaker on the baffle, and it'll focus the sound. You can either glue it this way or drill holes in the side, fill them later, and then glue it with the speaker facing up. Doesn't really matter. One's a little more work than the other. So there you go. Homemade baffles. You don't have to buy them. I know they're only a few dollars, but sometimes a few dollars matter when you can just save what you would normally throw away and repurpose it. Anyway, that's that. I'll continue on.